Hello, and welcome to another Jay's Politics podcast, which isn't actually about politics today. It is actually going to be about football. And today we're going to be discussing an article I found, actually by happenstance, from a page called The Ringer. It's called The Ringer. In regards to, is it time to rethink the NFL playoff format? And I think it's a valid criticism. And I think it's valid in a lot of ways because of what the actual playoff structure is like. Not that it's necessarily going to affect the Seahawks in any way, shape, or form this year, but just a thought in general about it. And curious as to what your guys' thoughts are. I'm going to try to not make it an hour long today if I can help it. However, I would like to at least put in my 2 cents, Sorry, I'm actually trying to get to my events and see what's going on. So let's go here. Just sent me back to my channel, and I wanted to go to something else. All right, so let's go to live dashboard. Sorry. Take a look at things. All right, so put this in the sports category. Sorry, I'm having a basic time of this, but whatever, it's all right. Leave that public, go to advanced settings, see if that pulls up. Anyways, oh, come on. Should give me an option here. Sorry. It's not giving me the option I want to, but that's all right today. Not a big deal. I'll change it later. Anywho, we are going to go with the article here. In the case for rethinking of the NFL's playoff format by Rodger Sherman, I just found out about this today, and I actually think he brings up a valid point. I even asked, I tweeted out to him, because one line in particular rings with some animosity in there, and it might just be me projecting my own bias, but I think it's also his bias as well, as fans of the NFL. And when we get there, I'll go over it. But one of the 2 best teams in the AFC will be put in the least advantageous playoff situation imaginable. That's bad news for the Chiefs or the Chargers, but potentially great news for the Patriots dynasty. And here's the thing about the NFL playoff system. He'll explain it in the article. Link to the article will be down below once I cancel the stream. But just thought I would, how shall we put it? Just thought I would go over the article here. The NFL playoff scheme, the way it's set up, is if you are one of 4 division winners, you automatically get a home playoff game, no matter what. Now, if you're the 2 top team record-wise of the division winners, you get a home game, plus you get a first-round bye in the playoffs, because the NFL does a 6-team playoff. And of the 2 teams that get the first-round bye, only one of them, quote-unquote, officially gets home field advantage throughout the playoffs up till the Super Bowl. And that is because odds are the first place team is going to be whoever they play in their first playoff match, but it doesn't always work that way, but it could. So the Chargers and the Chiefs are the 2 best teams in the AFC, and it's not particularly close. They are tied atop the conference at 11-3, but those 11-3 records don't do them justice. Now, mind you, this article was written 2 days ago on Thursday before the Thursday night game, and was before tonight's Chargers loss. For those of you that care, the Chargers lost 22-10, I think it was. I don't have it off the top of my head right now. I could check my Twitter link, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet. Um, 2 of their 6 combined losses come from matchups against each other, so they split. And then the other 2 come from matchups against the Los Angeles Rams, who are also 11-3 and have won all of their games this season against the AFC competition. And against the 14 other AFC teams, the Chiefs and Chargers are combined 15-2. It's in a just world, we would just skip ahead to the AFC Championship rubber match between these 2. No, we would not, in a just world, just skip to the AFC Championship game. We wouldn't. Because there's this thing called Any Given Sunday for a reason. Unfortunately, the structural format of the NFL playoffs makes such a rematch unlikely. Los Angeles and Kansas City may be near equals on the field, but their road to the championship will be dramatically different. One will be given a first-round bye and home field advantage until the Super Bowl, meaning it can make it to the title game merely by winning 2 home games. But because both teams are in the AFC West, one will be seated below their conference's 3 other division winners, even though it will likely finish with a superior record. Either the Chargers or the Chiefs will be the AFC's 5th seed, forced to win 3 home games to make it to the Super Bowl. If the Chiefs and Chargers both win out, the Chiefs will get the top seed, and the Chargers will get bumped into the 5 seed, since the relevant tiebreaker is the divisional record, and the Chargers lost to the Broncos. Okay. It's a lot to unpack there. But like I said, it is based upon their record first and foremost. Second comes the tiebreaker rounds, or the first in the tiebreaker round is your divisional. Well, actually, first is your head-to-head. So even if they had the same record, and the Chiefs beat the Chargers twice, and the Chargers didn't lose to the Broncos, the Chargers would still be the 5th seed, or vice versa. If the Chargers had won both games against the Chiefs, they would be ahead, regardless of if they lost to the Broncos and, say, the Raiders, or if they lost twice to the Broncos, whatever the case may be. It can get a bit confusing, but basically, it's your head-to-head record, your divisional record, conference record, and then common opponents. Then I think it's strength of schedule. At some point, it goes down to an actual coin flip. But he talks about the 16 playoffs and how they are casts. It's a caste system. And goes into basically what I explained earlier. You have the first round buys, and he goes into the statistics here, and I'll go over those in a minute. Then you have the 2 other divisional teams that host a wild card game, and then the third cast is the 2 conference teams that did not win a division but had the better records. So the percentages of winning. Since 1990, the teams with the first round bye have accounted for 112 of the 336 total playoff spots. So what I'm getting from this and what I'm understanding of this is that he's saying that teams, that there have been 100 in I don't even know what that stat's trying to say, because I mean it only makes sense that the first round buys would be a third of the percentage of a 6-team playoff, or a 12-team if you count both conferences. So I mean that makes sense. These teams have accounted for 44 of the 56 total Super Bowl spots, or 78.5%. Well, I'd hope so. These are supposed to be the best teams in the NFL, after all. Over the 28 seasons under the current playoff format, teams with the first round bye have had a 39.2% chance of making it to the playoffs, which is not a guarantee. It is not a lock. So it's not. It's no means certain that if you have the first round bye, you're going to make it. Even though the percentage of first round bye or first round teams have been 44 of the 56. That doesn't take into account everything. Since 2010, the teams have won 57.1% of their home games during the regular season, but 64.7% of their home games during the postseason. After taking the quality of the teams into account, 538, which is one of the better stats sites out there, calculated that there's a 4.8% bump in the win percentage for home teams in the postseason. Of the 112 teams in this cast since 1990, 9 have reached the Super Bowl, which is only 8%. Okay. And one of the biggest things is hypothetically a 5 seed could host a home game if them and the 6 seed both win their 2 previous games. This has never happened, and I don't say it will probably never will happen like he says here, but it is one of the things. Of the 56 conference games held under the current format, 54 have been hosted by a team that had a first round bye. Okay. All right. So, of the 112 teams in this position since 1990, just 3, 2.6%, have made it to the Super Bowl. 2005 Steelers, 2007 Giants, and the 2010 Packers won it all. All right. I thought the Giants had another one in there, but whatever. In theory, the NFL has developed a relatively clean way of separating teams into 3 casts. 2 division winners with the best records get the first bye. The other 2 get home games in the first round, and the 2 wildcard teams are put through the road gauntlet. Hypothetically, this format gives the most deserving teams the easiest path, a notion that is reflected by the numbers. But this isn't always the case, as it often works out that the 4 division winners are not the 4 teams with the best records in the conference. That means the wildcard team is forced to play a road game against a division winner with a worse record. The 8-8 AFC West Chargers beat the 12-4 Colts after the 2018 season. Marshawn Lynch would use his famous beast mode run to power up the 9-7 NFC West champion Seahawks past the 11-5 Saints in the 2010 season. Yep. And then the 7-8-1 Panthers defeated the 11-5 Cardinals, who, to be fair, started Ryan Lindley at QB. That one, yeah, you kind of have to throw out. Just 2 years ago, the 2-12 Raiders and the 11-5 Giants lost road playoff games to the 9-7 South Texans and the 10-6 Packers, respectively. I understand his point, and this is one of the biggest contentions of the NFL playoff system by most people, is that you're not actually giving people or the teams with the best record the best chance to win. What you're doing is you're awarding division winners with 2 things for winning the division: a playoff berth and home field advantage in at least 1 game. Now, I have no problem with win the division and you get a playoff game. It could still be that. But I think it should become win the division and have the better record to ensure you get a home field game. Now, does that mean that in a situation like what we have here, which is rare, where you have 2 teams in the same division with the same high record, that they're outstripping all the rest of the conference, that both teams necessarily deserve both the top spots? I would say yes and no. I would say that I agree with him on that they both should have it. And this is, again, going back to before the Chargers lost tonight. Say both teams won out. I think both teams at that point, especially if the nearest record is not that close. As a matter of fact, let me take a look at the playoff picture from NFL.com. Give me just a second here. Playoff picture. Hopefully they haven't factored in the Chargers loss, but if they did, oh well. Come on. Okay, let me go back to this. All right. So, as you can see, the Chiefs are projected a number 1 seed, and they just factored. They did factor this, but it didn't change much of anything at this point. So, let's just say hypothetically the Chiefs lose. So, who's the next best team? 9-5. Okay. Okay. So here's an interesting thought. Sorry, it just popped in my head. So the nice thing about doing a live stream like this is what if say the Chiefs lose to the Seahawks this week, tomorrow, on Sunday. The Texans win and the Chargers are, and then from there they all tie out basically. So they all end up 12-4. Here's how you could solve that issue. The 2 division winners get the 1 and 2 spots. Chargers get the 3rd spot. The Patriots will get the 4th spot, and then the Steelers could get the 5th, and Ravens get the 6th. That way, the division winners are guaranteed a spot, and you could still have 2 division winners at the top, and not 2 teams from the other side. Now, let's say the Texans lose one, and the Chiefs and Chargers win out. After the Seahawks beat the Chiefs, tied records. Then I can see the Chiefs and the Chargers being 1 and 2. It should totally be based upon your records, but I think the tiebreak between them should be. So, for example, using the example of the Chiefs, Texans, and Chargers all ending up 12-4. It first goes head to head, so the Chiefs and the Chiefs would win. Then it goes to, is there another division winner in the tied group? So then the Texans would go ahead. Now the Texans and the Chiefs, to decide who's first and who's second, could go based upon their combined conference records. And if one team has a better conference record than the other, great. The one with the better record gets the first seed, which is predominantly which is presumably how it would work. But that's just a thought by me on this. I don't know about the rest of you. So what do you think? All right, so let's see here. Sorry. All right. Back to this. I'm going to skip a couple of paragraphs because I don't think it is. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's really pertinent to what I wanted to discuss about this, but it does. But it does help. I mean, he does talk about how the NFL has the best divisions, etc. But the NFL's divisional set up doubles as a nifty scheduling tool. 14 of the team's 16 annual opponents are decided by the division in which it plays. The 14 of a team's 16 annual opponents are decided by the division in which it plays. Yeah, that's true. Sorry, The way it was worded didn't sit right in my head for a second there, but it is accurate. So how it works is you play your division opponents twice. You play one AFC division, all 4 teams. You play one NFC team twice, and then the 2 remainders are teams that finished in the same spot you did within your division the year prior. So, for example, if Kansas City wins the division, the Chargers get second place. Next season, the Chiefs will play every first round team within their conference, plus their one NFC team, and the Chargers would play the 2 other second place teams in the other 2 divisions, opposite of the other AFC team, their other AFC division they're playing. So, just some food for thought, However, the NFL overvalues division championships and playoff formatting. Division champion shouldn't receive priority for a home game over a wild card team with a better record, whose only mistake was being part of a division that had better teams. A division champion definitely shouldn't receive priority over a wild card team with a better record for those mega important first round buys. If anything, more impressive teams like the Chargers can manage to such stellar record despite having more games against tougher competition. Why reward division champs with worse records simply for being lords of their trash heaps? That is, I think that's going a bit far. It's not just the NFL. Look at Major League Baseball, which forces its wildcard teams to play a single elimination game, regardless of whether they have better records than the division champs. This is why the 100-win Yankees played the 97-win A's in this year's American League wildcard game, while the 91-win AL Central champion Indians were given a straight shot to the ALDS, where they were promptly swept. This isn't exactly the same premise as the NFL, but it punishes great teams for the sin of being in a difficult division nonetheless. And here he talks about the last proposal was 28, which pitched to allow wildcard teams to host division winners with lesser records. Basically what I'm saying, quote, went down in flames. Leading the charge against that potential change, Patriots owner Robert Kraft, who argued that if you win your division, it's good for your fans to know that you'll have a home game. Of course, Kraft would be the guy shooting down this proposal. Nobody has benefited from the NFL's emphasis on division championships more than his Patriots. Every other division of football has produced at least 3 champions in the past decade. Hell, even the every NFC division has had at least 3 champions over the past 4 years, except for the AFC East, where the Pats have won 14 of the past 15 titles. The New York Post, the Buffalo Larrys, and the Miami Curlies have posed virtually no threat to New England during the Patriots' 2-decade-long dynasty. Under the current setup, there is almost no circumstance in which the Pats could be forced to play a road playoff game in the first round. Could you imagine if the Pats landing in the scenario the Chargers and Chiefs are in, where they would be the second best in the conference and would be bumped down to fifth seed just because the damn Jets, had the best record in the AFC? Not happening. Not this year, not next year, not even when Tom Brady is 145 years old, he'll probably still be playing. No, this could only happen in other divisions. Guess who stands to benefit from the Chargers and Chiefs predicament this season? That's right, the Patriots are 9-5 heading into Week 16 a game behind the 10-4 Texans in a race for a first-round bye. That should rightfully belong to Los Angeles or Kansas City. But Houston has to take on the 7-7 Eagles in Philadelphia on Sunday, while the Patriots are hosting the Bills. In Week 17, the Pats have a home game against the Jets. Remember how I called the NFL's divisional scheduling setup nifty? I take it all back. The Patriots have built their dynasty around first-round buys. They've gotten to 8 in a row, dating back to 2009. In the 12 seasons since 2001, which New England had secured their first-round bye, they made it to 8 Super Bowls. In the 3 seasons the Pats made the playoffs but failed to get a first-round bye, they have made the conference championship only once. Believe it or not, the Patriots are measly 3-4 in road playoff games during this dynasty era. Luckily, they won't have to play a road game in the first round of the playoffs. So as long as the AFC East remains weak in the postseason format rewards division champions disproportionately. The Patriots already have everything going for them. The greatest coach of all time, the greatest quarterback of all time, and a ton of salary cap space because of the greatest quarterback of all time is married to the richest supermodel of all time and is fine with being the 21st highest paid quarterback in the league with 32. This year, the Pats could be treated like the AFC's second best team, while the AFC's real second best team runs a marathon with 20-pound weights strapped to its ankle. Life isn't fair sometimes, or maybe ever. Now, like I said, this article is, for the most part, I agree with. And like I said, you can hear the bias, and it could be my bias the way I'm reading it, but I think Rodger does have the bias as well. Now, with that said, how could we make it fair for all teams? Just doing it solely by the record? Well, how do you decide, tiebreakers? Do we change the format but keep the same tiebreaker rules? I think that would be a fair assessment. I think that would be fair and just for anybody. I don't know about the rest of you. I don't know what everybody thinks, but I feel that is fair enough. Should you actually be justifiable? Should it be justifiable that as a division winner, you supersede all the other better records? No, I don't think so. Now, in what I suggested, if you had a three-team race where all 3 teams are the same record, and you have 2 division winners there, the 2 division winners should be the first round buys. The one that doesn't get the first round bye should become the 3rd seed automatically. I think that would actually be a fair point, but it's not my point to argue. It's just one of those things. Sorry, I'm looking at a tweet thread. Here, I'll share it with you guys. So Albert Breer, Ravens held 36-1 edge. Talking about the game was close, but it really shouldn't have been. Baltimore crushed it tonight, and playing on the West Coast on a short week too. I understand jet lag and all, but it's worse for West Coast teams going and I understand that the Chargers had 10 days rest. I get it. But the point is Albert didn't make it as entirely about just the short week. He made it about playing on the West Coast on a short week. The West Coast trip from East Coast to West Coast is not as bad as going west to east on a Sunday morning. Don't get me wrong. I think when one team has an unfair advantage of 10 days rest because they played a Thursday night game, and I don't even think it's a 10-day rest. Let me go back to the schedule here. Oh, come on. NFL, way too many ads and shit. I understand. That's how it works and all, but I want to Okay. Let's go back to week 15. So Chargers and Chiefs. Thursday. So that's what? 9 days rest? Okay. 9 days rest. And when did the Ravens play? Oh. So the Ravens played Sunday at what? The game was what? 10? My time? So 1 p.m.? Yeah. 1 p.m. Eastern game. So it wasn't that much of a time difference than any other time. Now, if the Ravens had played, say, Monday night, I'd give them a lot more credence to it. But, it is what it is. Back to the playoff point. The playoffs are specifically designed, like the author says, to benefit the division winners, to benefit those that actually win their divisions, regardless of what their record is. And that should not be the case. I think that should be used as a tiebreaker. If you win your division and you're tied with, if you're in a 3 or 4-way tie, it should go that way. Division winner should be right after, head-to-head wins. In my humble opinion. I mean, you could even technically make it at the tertiary. You could make it as, what was your conference record before your division record. There are many ways around doing this. Maybe we should come up with a bunch of ideas and submit it and flood the NFL office with it as fans, if you truly dislike the way that this is done. I hope Rodger tweets back to me about this, but I'm not holding my breath. It is what it is. Oh, 2 new notifications. Let's go back to those. Sorry. Just another notification about something entirely different. Again, this is just my opinion on the NFL itself. The NFL, how do I want to put this? On the NFL playoffs, NFL game itself tonight, but it is what it is. So, thank you for watching. This is just one of those random things. I did have another story about the NFL I wanted to talk about, but I just don't have the time tonight, and I don't want to. And I want to give it its own due, its own respect. I've been meaning to do it for about a week now. The story's been out, but hopefully I'll be able to get to that sometime over the next week. No more school, so I can stream a little bit more. But I do want to spend more time with the family, especially with the holidays. So if you don't see me on this week until Friday night with the veteran stream, I'll see you then. I may join the Piggy show on Monday. I don't know yet. We'll see. Hopefully you guys have a great week. Enjoy your holidays, whether you celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, or anything. Enjoy your holidays. Spend it with the loved ones. Spend it with your family and friends. That's really what the holidays are about. Not about what you can buy everybody, not what you spend on everybody. So have a wonderful week.